What's up, everyone? This is Mayan Gordon. We are live at 5, streaming to LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. You guys know what to do if you're watching right now. Comment one thing that you're grateful for today, and then also where in the world are you watching from? I am coming to you from Spokane, Washington, and we have a really special guest today. His name is Eric King, Major Eric King, because he is an accomplished veteran. Thank you so much for your service, not only to our country, but especially to all the other members of the military. And I know that that's something
Thank
that's
you.
certainly a huge passion for you. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. So if you guys have any questions for Eric during this conversation, during this interview, make sure you post them in the comments. Now, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Well, I think you just did a phenomenal job with doing that. Hey, I greatly thank you for allowing me to utilize your platform to be on your show, to reach many, as I'm hoping veterans was able to dial in to listen in on what we have to share with them on tonight. As she stated, I am Major Retired Eric King. I served 16 years in the United States Army. Prior to that, I was wounded in combat. And then I was told, due to the injuries I had sustained, that I had to medically retire from the United States Army. Since that transition and going through that and being hospitalized for the number of days that I was after getting out of the military, I said, well, there's something I still need to be able to do to figure out what's next for me. And then I said, well, that's selfish. It's what's next for everybody. And that's why you have me on your show now, because we're going to talk about that's what's next. So
Yeah,
again, thank you.
absolutely. I'd love for you to kind of, before we dive into what you're doing now, give people a little bit of context. What kind of pushed you into Army life in the first place, and what are some of the things that you really both love about it and got out of your service?
Great. Well, coming up as a little boy, young man, I was always patriotic, and I had always talked about joining the military and serving my country and giving back. But while I was 20 years old, I had learned that I had a child on the way, and once I learned that I had a child on the way, I said, "Well, I have to, take care of this new life, this human being." And as I was sitting down trying to figure that out, a commercial came across the television saying join the United States Army. And I said, well, I always wanted to join the Army. So what's a better time to join it now so I can be able to serve my country and take care of my daughter Jada, who is 20 years old now. And I called up my recruiter, and that's how I got into the military. And while I was in the military, I started off as an enlisted soldier, uh, private first class Eric King. I was a combat engineer, and after being enlisted for a while, I said, well, I want to do a little bit more, and I want to actually lead soldiers. So you can do that on both ends of the spectrum. But having a college degree, I was afforded the opportunity to join the ROTC program and commission and to become a commissioned officer through the ROTC program and continue to serve. And at that time, I became an infantry officer while I served there for several years. Then I transitioned over to logistics, and during that time, got injured over in combat, as I stated earlier, and that is what brought me to where I'm at now. Simply because um, after going through that phase, I was hospitalized for 52 days.
Wow.
After going through that recovery, um, I was at a loss. I was at the end of my road, as I thought at the time. Uh, I was going from Major Eric King to just Eric King, and being in the military, serving for so long, that is what you're accustomed to doing. Getting out, leading soldiers, and just doing great things to serve our country. And I felt like I had lost that leadership. I felt that I was no longer needed, uh, and I didn't have anything to do. So going through that transition, battling suicide from what I had sustained in the military when I went through, um, I had to figure out just what was next for me. And after going through all of that, fighting through that, and my children and my family being in my corner, giving me that support that I needed, I found myself navigating through all the different um, avenues of finding out what resources were there out there for me. And once I figured all that out, I said, well, no one should have to go through that alone by trying to figure that stuff out. And again, that's when I was like, so what's next for me? I said, well, that's selfish. What's next for everybody?
Yeah,
And
yeah. And
that
you know,
was,
I
yeah,
know a lot of people who are watching this are going to not be military members, but I think your story is honestly one that so many people can relate to, where you have a strong identity of who you are, and then something happens where that identity kind of gets ripped apart, where you're no longer that that athlete that you once were because of an injury, or you have to completely change, you lose your job that you've been in for 15 years, whatever that job may be, where you were really a part of that company, you were really committed, and trying to struggle and fight through, figure out what who you are outside
yeah.
of that role, and what kind of value you have to contribute to your family, to yourself, to society. So I'd love to hear what, outside of, it sounds like your family was a pretty big part of helping you get through that. What were some of the other things that really helped you when you were like really mentally and emotionally struggling with this transition?
Well, while I was in the hospital, um, well, I was taken back. So the first time that I really felt like, after what I had experienced and what I had went through, and battling the nightmares and night terrors, I felt like I just could not continue to go on. And when I went to take my life, my son walked in, and he stopped me. At that
Wow.
time, I thought I was at home by myself, but it was nothing but the goodness of God that somehow had him there at that time, and saved my life. And when I went and got help for that, and going through that, there was just so much love and support from uh, the hospital staff, so much love and support from the counselors that I was receiving treatment and therapy from. And they began to give me that reassurance that, you are somebody, you are valued, you can still continue to serve, though you may not serve in a uniform, but you can still serve and provide the necessary tools that the American people need, or some young person that may be coming along struggling with something. You can be there to help them with your testimonies, and they just continue to pour their love and support in and to me, and I took on that. And I said, well, these strangers at that time, they don't know me, but they're pushing for me, and they are investing more into me than I am currently investing into myself at that time. And so I began to turn things around for myself and began to look at the bigger picture outside of me. So that way I can be in this position that I'm in right now, to be there to serve other people.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I can certainly, I think, relate to that on some level. Growing up in high school, I I had a period of time where I actually cut myself. I wasn't suicidal, but I was going through a very kind of deep emotional struggle where, when I think you're in that place, you really don't think anyone cares about you. You don't
Yeah,
think, you feel so alone, and so distanced from the world that you want to be a part of, the world that you want to contribute to, and that shift in perspective to really feel, even sometimes one person, it sounds like you had a whole group of people, but to have even one person, who does truly support you, and you feel that support, I think can absolutely be phenomenal for people who are in distress. And I've seen a lot of kind of soldiers, veterans who come back and simply do not have that support system there. So I'd love
yeah.
for you to talk about how that kind of experience impacted you towards what you're doing now, and how you took that and wanted to, make something more out of that.
Absolutely. Well, the military provides a great structure, as everything we do in the military is structured, is formatted. You're being told what to do each and every day, what time to be in formation, what you're going to do for that day. And it's planned out very well. And once you get into that battle rhythm and you're doing it each and every day, it becomes second nature to you. But when that time for you in the military, for whatever reason, may come to an end for you, you find yourself trying to figure out what's next for you, because you no longer have no one telling you, this is what you're going to do the next, 24, 48, 72 hours, or 30 or 60, 90 days. And so as I began to go through that transition, um, and you go from the Department of Defense to the Department of Veteran Affairs, well, you no longer have anybody telling you exactly per se, what to do, where to be. Have you done this? Have you done that? And for a lot of us veterans, we struggle with that. We struggle with trying to figure out and find out what services that are available for us, what benefits and resources that are available for us. Some of us may have that to have someone to tell you exactly what to do, or you may have a case manager, whatever the case may be. But a lot of times, often as I meet, even right now today, as I went through it, we just don't know what services that are out there. And that is also what pushed me and prompted me to build my nonprofit organization, Best What's Next, because I simply want to provide a consolidated hub of all the services and resources and benefits that any veteran or active duty service member and or family can be able to go to one centralized location, which is the Best What's Next mobile app or our website at bestwhat'snext.org. And whatever it is most likely that you're looking for, well, we have it right there in that one centralized location for you. So it
That's
is
awesome.
to streamline the resources that are out there, so you don't get frustrated when you're looking for what you need simply because of what you're deserving of. Because that was me at one time. I was frustrated. I pushed away from the computer and I said, I'm not gonna do this. Why is it so hard? And it really isn't hard. It's just time consuming. Well, we have
Right.
changed that. We have changed that, and I'm guaranteed. I would say about 90 to 95% of what you're looking for as you transition out of the military. Our mobile application will be able to guide you to that service that you need.
That's amazing. So let me ask you a little bit. When did you start this organization? And then what are some ways that you're trying to grow? What are some ways you're getting the word out about this service to more veterans? And then also, what are some of the ways that people watching this, myself included, how can we help contribute to this like really phenomenal cause that personally, in my opinion, this should be something that the government offers directly when soldiers leave their service is how and maybe you can speculate a little bit as to why there aren't these kind of centralized hubs and services set up for you guys. Is it a personnel issue? Is it a technology issue? Is it a lack of awareness issue?
Okay. Uh, all great questions. As I ask myself a lot of those same questions myself. But Best What's Next nonprofit was formed just last year in September. Well, we kicked things off with building the organization, which we also provide service and assistance to our homeless veterans as well. We do go out within the community, which will hope to spread this from coast to coast worldwide, as so many organizations does anyway. But with Best What's Next, we go out to the community and we help those homeless veterans, whether it's with food, clothing, arranging shelter for them, or helping them getting or guiding them in the direction that they need to get the many different services that they need, as well as going out to the nursing homes where our veterans are currently residing. So we do that as well. We just kicked off the mobile application that I'm so proud of just 2 weeks ago, which is
Oh,
available on
wow, that's
both. Yeah,
amazing. That's huge. Yeah, no, that's huge
thank
because a
you.
lot of, especially I imagine, more towards the homeless and the kind of elderly veterans are not going to be on a laptop.
Yeah,
But they will likely have a cell phone. And so being able to bring that service to where they have the access to it, I think is phenomenal. So I definitely applaud you on that. So kind of
yeah.
bringing it back, how can people like me, like I think this is an amazing cause. I know that Spokane has probably tons of homeless veterans. What's the way that I could help? Do I go out into the streets with some cards and talk to people, kind of hand out the information about it, or are there other ways? Do I contact you as the nonprofit owner and try and connect with you? What can we all do to help?
Absolutely. It goes back to grassroots. We have to build ourselves up from the ground, and just like we would normally say, each one teach one. So each one tell one. We spread the word through social media, which Best What's Next is our handle on all social media platforms. We can be reached there, uh, but
I'll
mainly
throw up
just
a banner for that. It's Vets What's Next.
uh huh
All right.
EETS, all one word. WHATS next, NEXT as it's spelled on my shirt. There you go.
Is that right?
So, yep, that's it.
All right, you guys, definitely, please, everyone watching this, if you could go follow, I'm guessing all the social channels, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Absolutely. We're on
Awesome.
all those handles. And to answer the question about why doesn't this already exist? Well, I will say there are so many organizations out there, great organizations that are doing some phenomenal things to give back to the veteran community. And you will find that there are some and other resources out there that provide information and services for our veterans. But the one thing that I did not find as I was going through all the different nooks and crannies is what I was able to formalize and build. Uh, I didn't take anything that did not already exist. What I did was I just took all these different great services from all different locations and I just brought them into one centralized location. So, why wasn't this already thought of? I'm sure it was. Why didn't it already exist? To some extent, it did. But I just think that we as we continue, the world continue to evolve, we have to evolve and keep up with it.
That's
And that's
exactly the word
exactly
I was thinking of. So this is really almost just like the evolution of
right.
what has been happening, and that the government and people and organizations have been trying to help veterans, and this is really a accumulation of all of that help in a better package, in an easier to access package.
Absolutely. And that's what we want to do, especially with our millennial veterans, all about our Gen X veterans, as well as the senior veterans. And a lot of our senior veterans, they pretty much know the process. But it's a lot of our millennial veterans that seem to not know exactly what is out there and available for them. And I said, well, the quickest and best way to target that audience is build a mobile application. You build a mobile
Absolutely.
application where they can be able to utilize that app to get those services is perfect. And also, what the mobile app would do, it would allow other outside agencies, companies, services to plug into the Best What's Next app. It's like the nucleus, the hub,
That's awesome.
the gateway. So if they're outside agencies, as I am asking them to, reach out to us and let's figure out how we can plug in your services and resources to this hub through our mobile app. Because one of the main things that is on the rise, and we still battling today, is suicide.
Right.
I was almost there myself. And I want to be able to, when there's a soldier in need that needs to, reach out to a live counselor where they know going through the Best What's Next app, once we plug that capability in there, they can go to their app and they can click on a button there, and there's a live counselor they can talk to. Because
So
one of
it's
the
also
things that,
about trust, is what I hear, because
yes,
I know that I'm I'm not part of the military. None of my family is part of the military, but I have a deep love and respect for the military. So I've been following it and kind of learning as I can as I go. And I've seen a huge problem with the VA system in that the hospitals oftentimes are not, there's no cohesive system for it, and they're often very independently run. And so some of the VA hospitals are very, very good.
hmm
And some of them are really not great at all, to the point where veterans are very sadly committing suicide in the parking lot of the VA hospital because they feel such a frustration where
yep,
they went to this place that was supposed to help them, and no one really did. So I think that such a great thing to be building something that people really can trust in, that they know I'm going to go here and I'm going to get the help if I ask for it. So I again commend you on that. And I think it's a really wonderful thing. And what it sounds like is, if you own a business and you're watching this, that you need to reach out to Eric, because there is most likely something that you can do to contribute to this. And I'd love for you to maybe talk about what are some of these services that you help people both connect with, and then I imagine also bring awareness to, that they didn't even know maybe existed for them as an option as a veteran.
correct. So even with going about applying for your VA disability, I have come across so many young veterans who would say a couple of things. Well, I did not know that I can go to the VA. Well, I thought the VA was for the elderly, or I thought that, oh, well, I've been told you go to the VA, you're gonna die. And I'm here to tell you that that isn't the case. The VA is there to help as much as they can. If you can't get into the VA, you can utilize outside medical facilities to get that support. But the thing I want our young veterans, all veterans, to know that the first thing you need to do is enroll into the VA healthcare system. That's number one. Enroll into the VA healthcare system. A lot of them didn't know that. So going through the mobile application on the veterans, we have uh, a Get Transition tab, and it will walk you through exactly what you need to do. If you're not a reader, we have videos that will illustrate and talk to you and telling you what you need to do or who you need to go and talk to, such as your veteran service officer within your local county. So it will walk you through that process so you can begin to apply for your medical disability, so you can begin to receive compensation for you and your family. For those that are still serving in the military, we show you how to go about applying for your VA disability 180 days prior to getting out of the military. So that way, once you get out of the military on a Monday, come Tuesday, since you 180 days ago applied for your disability, now you don't have to worry about applying for those disabilities, because so often a lot of our veterans, they get out the military and they say, I'm gonna apply, I'm gonna apply, I'm gonna apply. 6 months go by, 12 months go by, 18 months go by. Then when they finally apply for it, where they're denied, and they're simply denied because a lot of times the evaluator would say, well, how do we know that that injury that you're claiming that you encountered in the military actually happened in the military?
Right.
Well, it did, but there's no lineage to show that it
Right.
happened. So I encourage all my veterans, apply for your benefits prior to getting out of the military. And if you don't, the day you get out of the military, that needs to be on the list. And I know you have to move your families and everything, but you have to take care of that in order to continue to take care of yourself and your families, and as well as for my family members. There are so many great resources under the families tab of the app, where it take our family members, our spouses and dependents through how to get the benefits that they're entitled to, or if something happened to your sponsor or that veteran or service members, there are things that they are entitled to as a spouse and or as a dependent. Uh, Once from first getting married to a military soldier, there are so many resources and things that you can go through to take advantage of what you need to know to be well equipped as a surviving spouse and or as a spouse and a dependent. So there are just so many great services out there. Uh, I, Two I'm gonna hit on real quick that's important.
Yeah.
Service members get out of the military and they may have student loans, and they are trying to pay back these student loans. Well, if they're 100% permanent and total disabled, well, you go through the Best What's Next app. Well, the government will write off those student loans for you. Well, you don't have to repay those student loans. That's one less bill you no longer have to worry about. Disabled veterans who may qualify for a no mortgage home. There are organizations that build mortgage-free home for our disabled veterans. Well, we have a list of those there in the app under veterans and get help. So you click on homes for vets, you find the one that you fall within those criterias, what they offer, and if you get selected, you can get a mortgage-free home. That's one less bill and burden that you and your family will have to worry about.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And in addition to it being one less bill or burden, it's also something that makes you, I imagine, feel quite appreciated and like validated of like, you guys do recognize what I gave for this country. You guys
mhm,
do respect the work and the time and the everything, the blood, sweat, and tears that I put in, and gave up. And at the time I gave up with my family, that thank you for this because I deserve it. And it's really important, I think, for people who are, giving up, like you said, their entire schedules,
mhm.
essentially giving your life over to a larger cause, and being willing to be directed within that cause, that you get what you deserve out of that, I think is a huge thing for the emotional state. And I imagine,
Absolutely.
especially coming out, that those first 6 months, those first 12 months are probably the
Tough.
most crucial, and the toughest to deal with those emotions, because you're not just dealing with the new bills maybe that you have, but you're dealing with that loss of identity.
Yes.
I'm sure anyone who goes through the military for even probably a year develops a pretty strong identity
Oh, yeah.
towards being in the military and how valuable that is to them. And so when you get that stripped away from you, you need something else to hold on to. And it
Yeah.
sounds like what your app does is really give veterans a whole lot to hold on to and a whole lot to believe in for their own futures, which is just absolutely amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's easier said than done. It's to those veterans who are struggling, those who are
Right.
going through those tough times. I've been there. I know. And I encourage and tell all of them, do not give up. There is life after military. You can reclaim your life and you can live a prosperous life outside of the military because there is help out there for you. And that is why I have personally signed up to do that, to give back and help our veterans. As I stated, though I'm no longer serving in the military, I'm still serving. I'm serving
Yeah.
you, and everybody who can, genuinely gain something from what Best What's Next has to offer. And if we don't have what you need right there, we're going to guide you to that right source of what you need so you can get that help. And as you mentioned about the suicide, veterans taking their own lives outside of the VA. And there's a number of different, reasons and facets,
Yep.
why that happened. But one of the things that we want to offer is if it's to build up a frustration of how to go about getting your benefits or what services and resources that are out there for you, we are really hoping that once you go to our mobile app, you find what you need and that level of frustration and that stress begin to reduce, as low as we can possibly get it down where you know that they care about me. We all care about you. Everybody care about them, but we want
Yeah.
them to know that Best What's Next care about them. As there's additional pay out there to help them out outside of the VA, outside of Social Security, outside of Army retirement. Combat related special compensation pay. So many of our veterans who have been wounded in combat may qualify for this additional supplement that is given through the Human Resource Command. Well, we have that information right there in our app, along with so many other great tools.
That's so great to hear. Are there any other things that you kind of in this interview in this time want to make sure that people walk away being aware of or knowing that it's something really important?
Absolutely. I would say the number one thing that's important is your life. You have, I don't care if you serve 10 days in the military, you are still a part of the 1% of the American population to have served our military. So if you served our military, you donned a uniform, you are valued and you are appreciated. And whatever it is that you are deserving of, go out there and get it. Do not give up, no matter how frustrating it's going to get. Do not give up. Keep on pushing because there are so many of us that love you and value you. And I'm sure that once you download the Best What's Next app, I'm just excited about it. That's why I keep talking about it. But once you download it,
I'm going to
you're going to
download it
keep
right
on.
after this interview. And I encourage, even if you guys, this is not just, I'll let you get back to it, but this is not just a veteran or military issue because veterans and people who serve in the military, they're parts of our community. They have families, and those families are parts of our community and make up our community. And the impact from one veteran is so much larger and further reaching than I think a lot of us really ever realize. And when we can help those people who have helped us to lead free lives, to have to get to sit in our homes without having to worry about being attacked by other countries, it's really important that we help take on some of the worry and some of the stress and some of the pain that they've taken on for us. And I think that everyone should download this app because I think whether or not you're personally going to use it, that you'll learn some things that will be incredibly beneficial to people you come into contact with in the future. It's very, very likely that every single person watching this is going to meet someone who they've never known before, who does serve in the military or who has served in the military in the near future. And you having this information to be able to share with them could change, save, impact someone's life in such a profound way. So please, you guys, please download this app. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And just even outside of our veterans and active duty service members and their families, the app is also beneficial to non-military personnel. We have uh, Get Jobs. If you're looking for a job, whether you're military or not. And if you're looking for a job, I'm sure you go there, you may find a job within your area that is hiring. We have a great list of governmental jobs that are looking to hire people like you who are listening in on us today. That is beneficial to all military personnel as well as non-military personnel.
And especially
So
right now, a lot of people have lost their jobs. If you're looking for
absolutely,
a job, download this app. It may be exactly what you're looking for.
absolutely. And if you're looking to join the military and you want to know what life going to look like for you after joining the military, you're trying to, make that decision for yourself. This app will help you make your decision because once you get out of the military, you will see that okay, I'll be taken care of, after I've served my country because I see the information up front and I know what's going to be out there beneficial for me and my family once you get out of the military. So this is an all-inclusive mobile application that will benefit any and everybody who will download the app. And I will also say, given everything that's going on today across the world, battling COVID 19, uh, battling what we're facing with the movements that are going on, uh, we still, at the end of the day, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, regardless of your political affiliation, there's still only one America. And I served it. I love her. And if I could, serve my country again, I would. So I say all that to say for everybody that's listening, um, you know, changes are happening, and regardless of how you want those to happen, still appreciate our veterans who have served our country, so we can have a country that is so free.
Absolutely. And I would just second that. I think I might get some flack for this, but if you don't like living in America, you really don't, then get the fuck out of here. Honestly, like go to Canada, go somewhere else. If you don't
Absolutely.
support our country, you don't have to be here. And I'm
There's
also
no other
definitely a
place I
huge
want to live.
yeah, I'm
I've
a
been to
huge
other countries.
patriot. And there's certainly, I'm not going to say America's perfect. Of course, the
Right.
United States is not perfect, but I absolutely love this country. I love the people within this country, and I support it as well to the fullest. So thank you so much for coming on. Also, I want to thank you for sharing your story. I'm sure it's not easy to talk about. Anything that was a struggle that pains you is always you still feel a little bit of that pain when you talk about it. So I want to just thank you for being willing to talk about it and share your story. And I'm certain that it's going to impact at least one person, if not many, in a really powerful way. If people want to get in touch with you, they want to find out more information, they want to get more involved, how would they reach out to you?
Again, they can reach us on our handles, which is Best What's Next across all social media platforms. Um, you can also reach us at www.bestwhatsnext.org. And you can also reach us through our mobile application to get in contact with us. We, again, provide a platform through the mobile app and website to allow outside agencies and companies to plug their capabilities within our app, and you can market and advertise to the veteran community. So we'll be gladly to get you all on board and to just partner with you. And yeah, that's how
That's
that goes.
amazing. Thank you so much
And I'm
again.
available to also come on anybody's show
Yes,
and
yeah.
talk and get the word out.
If you have a LinkedIn Live, if you've got a podcast, it would be really amazing if you could reach out to Eric. I'm gonna drop down this banner so you guys can see his name. There it is, Major Eric King. Please be sure to reach out. LinkedIn has how I connected with Eric, but I'm sure he's on Facebook and again all the other platforms through Vets What's Next. Vets What's Next. It's a little bit of a tongue twister.
BWN,
Yep.
yes.
That's what's next. Definitely get in touch, download the app. And if you haven't thought about helping out the military, at least now's the time to at least start thinking about it. You certainly don't have to, no one's going to force anyone to take any actions, but the actions start with thoughts. And so if you can just start thinking about how you might be able to help now, I think that would be a really great place to start. I hope you guys have an amazing night. I hope this inspired you or impacted you in a really positive way. And if it did, please share it, share the link to Facebook, share it on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you can share this. If it helps one veteran out, then it's totally worth the 5 seconds that it would take you to share it. You guys all
Absolutely.
have a great night.
Thank you.